Minnesota Vikings just fix their biggest issue heading into next season? What's going on, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into Vikings Now by Chat Sports. But on today's show, I wanted to discuss if the Vikings fix their biggest issue this offseason. But before we dive into that, and before I tell you what the biggest issue is, if you guys are pumped up for the first preseason game, all you need to do is like today's video. It's going to be against the Las Vegas Raiders. J.J. McCarthy, Sam Darnold. Hopefully all the Vikings get out there and get some good reps. So if you guys are excited, like today's show. But what's the biggest issue with the Minnesota Vikings over the last couple of years? It's got to be the run game, man. I mean, you guys see the stats up on screen right now. In 2022, Vikings, 27th in the league, averaging 97 rush yards per game. 2023, 91 rush yards per game. That was 29th in the NFL. If I had to pick the biggest issue under Kevin O'Connell so far, it would be the running game. And there's no doubt, this is the biggest issue by far on this unit. I think the Vikings over the past couple of years, we have seen them dominate teams on the perimeter. Just because of the receiver talent. Justin Jefferson is that good where he makes even the best cornerbacks in the NFL look like college players out there. They have been winning games on the perimeter. They don't normally win games in the trenches under Kevin O'Connell, and the Vikings have been just too much of a finesse football team. I never have once gone into a football game and I'm like, the Vikings are going to beat that other team up. The Vikings are going to hand it to them in the trenches. The run game's been poor. Their ability to stop the run was better last season, actually ranked 8th in the NFL, but the year before that, they were one of the worst rushing defenses in the entire National Football League. They have yet to be a strong, physical football team under Kevin O'Connell. And also this, physical football, guys, that wins later in the season. You think about this division. The Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears. They're not going anywhere. They're very physical football teams. They play outdoors. When it's December, January, even if you have a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type of quarterback, do you really want them throwing the football 35, 40 times a game in 10-degree weather? Probably not. You want to rely on that run game. You want to fix that part of your football team. And I think the number one person who is going to do that is the most underrated free agent signing in the NFL this past season, my man Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones, 29 years old, definitely older for the running back, but he is coming off a fantastic season. 2023 stats don't blow you away. 142 carries, 656 yards, 2 touchdowns, a long run of 39. The numbers aren't going to blow you away by any means. But one of my favorite stats in the NFL is rushing yards over expected. We have shown you guys this graphic countless times on the show because I think it is so important in terms of evaluating running backs. I think this stat and the eye test is the number one way I personally evaluate running backs. This is a big reason why we were able to see the fall off for Dalvin Cook coming before other, Vikings NFL media members saw it. Well, from week 16 to the divisional round, who led the NFL in the most rushing yards over expected? Aaron Jones. And actually, funny enough, Josh Allen was number 2 on this list. But rushing yards over expected, Next Gen Stats evaluates every run play, and they assessed how many running yards you're supposed to get on a specific play. Then Aaron Jones exceeded that from week 16 on by 151 yards. But, Aaron Jones has been great for the Green Bay Packers. Really one of the more underappreciated running backs in the entire National Football League. And, I understand, the stats this past season, don't blow you away. 650 yards, it's nothing too intense. But, the years before that, over 1,100 yards. The 2020, over 1,100 yards again, 9 touchdowns. He's always been great at finding the red zone. But also, I want to focus in here specifically on the last 5 games of Aaron Jones this past season. He was the best running back in the National Football League. Divisional round versus the 49ers, one of the best defenses in the league. 18 carries, 108 yards. What about wild card round versus the Dallas Cowboys? 21 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. Take it back to the 3 regular season games before the playoffs. Week 17 versus the Bears, 22 carries, 111 yards. Week 16, 20 carries, 120 yards versus our Vikings. Week 15, 21 carries, 127 yards. One of the most consistent runs out of a running back we have seen over the past couple of years. And he will be a big upgrade over a guy like Alexander Mattison. And also this, I think Aaron Jones is underrated. You know, I'm not saying he is a definite top 5 running back in the National Football League. But when we talk about some of the top backs in the leagues right now, you know, it always goes to Christian McCaffrey. It always goes to, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. And I understand that. Those are great running backs as well. But I think Aaron Jones is one of the more underappreciated and underrated running backs we have in the league. I think people are sleeping on the fact that he ended last season at his probably one of the best stretches of his career. I think he's going to be a big reason why the Vikings fixed their biggest issue this season. But also another reason why the Vikings could fix this issue, and again, could with these guys, the interior offensive linemen. Obviously, Garrett Bradbury would be the starting center. But I think it's going to come down to Blake Brandel, Ed Ingram, and Dalton Risner if they can shore up the offensive guard spots. You know, I think Brandel, Risner, they're solid in the run game. Ed Ingram, hills and valleys with this game, super inconsistent, but he can still, pop somewhat at that offensive guard spot. But if those 4 guys take a step and just up their play by, let's just say 5-10%, like, there really is no excuse for the Vikings to not have a run game this upcoming season at all. Like, I think if you look at the scheme Kevin O'Connell has, coming from that Sean McVay tree, Sean McVay has always had an elite rushing attack. You have Aaron Jones now. You got 2 elite tackles. You hopefully have some decent offensive linemen on the interior. I really don't see any reason for the Vikings not to have a solid running game this upcoming season. But hey, you guys let me know, will the Vikings have a top 10 run game this season? Type Y for yes or type N for no down in the comments section. Really curious to see what you guys have to say. 100%. I think they 100% will have a top 10 running game. Shout out to Gary Balster, by the way. We'll get to that here after this. But yeah, they will. I think they will. I think there's no doubt about it. I am very confident in that. I think they're, Kevin O'Connell's talked about it too. They've been self-aware. They understand they need to improve this run game. But I do want to talk about here really quickly, how will the Vikings split carries? Because I think some people think this would be more of a running back by committee. However, I don't necessarily think that will be the case. And this is how I'm going to predict it here. I think it's going to be a hefty dose of Aaron Jones in the backfield. I think he's going to get 75% of the carries. Then I think Tai Chandler, he'll be worked in there. He's going to get 23%. And then I think just others, like jet sweeps to Justin Jefferson. Maybe Jalen Naylor gets a jet sweep or whatever it may be. Or Kene Nwangwu, which we'll talk about here in a second. I think he could also get involved there as well. But that's how I think it's going to shake out right now. But let's talk about this guy at the 23% mark here, Tai Chandler. His stats are ridiculous. In his career, averaging 7.6 yards per carry, hasn't really gotten the biggest chance to prove himself, as this past season was, the first time we really saw him utilized in this offense, which, I was a little disappointed that they didn't use him more, but man, even this past season, he averaged 4.5 yards per carry, over 100 carries, which was great there. So if you just multiply that to let's just say if he would have gotten, 200 carries this past season, he would have ended up damn near going for just under 1,000 yards. Now, I do think the kicker with Tai Chandler is he needs to become elite in blitz pickup. Like, if he wants to find himself on the football field more, it is that. Third downs. Can you recognize the blitzer? Can you come in and lay that linebacker out, that's trying to get to the quarterback? That's going to be key for him. But also another thought I had on this running back group, I want to see more jet sweeps and screens for Kene Nwangwu. Like, I just don't understand. Like, the one real gripe I've had with Kevin O'Connell is not getting this guy the football more. And maybe he's seeing something I'm not seeing, which very well, could be the case here. But I want to see more jet sweeps. I want to see more screens for Kene Nwangwu, as I think it would be just great for this Vikings offense. But hey, you guys predict it for me. Predict Aaron Jones stats for this season down in the comments section. I'll show you guys mine. Actually, I forgot. I predicted it for you guys. But you guys let me know down below in the comments section. This is what I had. I think it's going to be a big season for Aaron Jones. I think he's going to go over 237 carries, just under 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry. As I think the Vikings are going to lean more heavily on this run game this upcoming season with Sam Darnold and a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. So that's where I got it right now. Also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's the handle right there, @PatSieps. If you guys do so, I'll give you guys a follow back. But really appreciate you guys watching today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you guys next time. Go Vikes.